Please, I want you to remind all those that you have invited for special service on Sunday. I want you to call them and remind them to be here Sunday morning. It's a special communion service. I will be teaching on the power of Holy Communion. On the power of what? Holy Communion. There are people who say that we don't need to eat communion again. They got it all wrong. There's an aspect they got right, but there's an aspect they got wrong. If Paul was quoting direct from the mouth of Jesus, I would rather go with Paul than to go with the recent preacher. I would rather go with Paul, who quotes what Jesus said, than to go with the recent preacher who said we should not take communion. Jesus said, do this in remembrance of me. He said, as often as you eat, do this in remembrance of me. So whenever we set the communion, we remember his death, his burial, and his resurrection, and what that means to us. So anybody that is telling you you don't need to eat communion have denied the death, the burial, and the resurrection of Christ. That's what the person have denied it. No matter how high sounding revelation the person think he has brought, he has denied it. Because the only aspect I will insist on is that if we are taking communion, we are not bringing out the revelation of his death and burial. Then that means we have not discerned the body. That's what it means to eat unworthily. Hello? To eat unworthily, I'm going to do justice to that on Sunday. It's not what many people thought. To eat unworthily means to eat irreverently. Yeah, you do not reverend the communion table. You eat it like the normal food you eat. And what will make you to eat like that way? You are eating without revelation. Do you understand that? And that means that you do not discern the body. And when we eat that way, what the communion is supposed to do, the communion will not be able to do that. Hello? Hello? Okay. So prepare yourself. The essence of what we are doing is to establish that death has been abolished. After eating communion, you are still thinking of dying. Then you ate it unworthily. And you did not discern the body. Because the next verse said, because they do not discern the body. Some are weak, and some are sick, and some people have died. So if you eat it worthily, with understanding, by discerning the body, nobody will be sick, nobody will be weak, and nobody will die. And I will show you why Christians are still dying. Did you hear what I said? I will show you why Christians die. No Christian is supposed to die. I will show why. It's in the Bible. If death has been abolished, unemployed, rendered useless, that word abolish, katerjo, means rendered useless. Why do Christians still die? I will show you from the Bible. After Sunday, you should go to mortuary and begin to slap dead bodies. And begin to wake them up. Okay. How many of you know the book of Genesis that God said man have become one of us? And if you do not stop him, he stretch forth his hand. What will happen? He will live forever. That means man in a state of sin, if he eats the communion, he will live forever. He will not die. He will live forever as a sinner. That is how powerful that tree of life is. What is called communion. That's how powerful that thing is. Let me put it that way. Let me use it is ungodly to put it, to call it that thing. But for your understanding, let me just go that way. If Adam, who's supposed to die by eating that tree, if he eat it in the state of sin, he will not die and he will live as a sinner forever. Are you getting understanding? Oh, do you understand what I just said? Adam ate it and became a sinner. Ate the tree of knowledge of good and evil and became a sinner. And the result of eating it is that he will die. Am I talking to somebody? Now, there's the other tree that if you eat, you will live forever. So if God do not put the cherub on the way to keep Adam from eating it, if Adam have, after eating that one, ate this one, he will not die, he will live forever. I don't know where I was listening to all these white people preach. I thought I said white people would understand English. All of them were saying, whenever Jesus says you shall not die, he's talking about your second death. I said, I don't know where we are getting. I said, that's why people are still dying. There's a generation that will not die. They will be alive and see Jesus. Don't tell me it is not possible. Go and read the book of Genesis. People are living 400 years, 500 years, 700 years. And I will show you why those guys were living. You know why they were living? Do you know why they lived that? None of them saw death. None of them heard about death. They didn't see death. They didn't hear it. They don't have memory of it. People start dying the moment Cain killed Abel. That's the first time they saw it. They begin to ask, what of Abel? See, what you hear will determine how you will live. What do you see? Let's close. So you believe witch can kill you? I should slap you so that you leave this church. Which witch? Like you don't know who is your pastor. If you sleep and you dream, you saw yourself in a coffin, know that they don't wanted to act a movie. It's not you. Look at me. We're unkillable. Odogunaya, Dikenaya, Ese Jesus. Odogunaya, Dikenaya, Onyene Mema. Hey, Epube. Ese Jesus. Anabaya. Onyena Bioso. Everybody stand. Ese Jesus. Say with me, God has made me as Ephraim and as Manasseh. He caused me to be fruitful in the land of my affliction and made me to forget my days of toiling. This year, 2024, the Lord has made room for me. Therefore, I am experiencing all-round fruitfulness and all-round rest. In Jesus' mighty name, amen.